This is why I couldn't ever be like a full-blown musical theater major, like piano scarf wearing, throat coat drinking nightmare.
Throat drinking.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hi, I am Ramona Ramirez. Hello.
Hi, friend.
Hi.
It's Summer House finale day.
Yes, Summer House finale day. I loved this episode. I love this franchise. I have a feeling it's going to shift considerably when they start recording. And I mean, they're going to, they're probably getting everything set up now. Memorial Day is this weekend. They start a couple weeks before July 4th. Who knows who's going to be back? West and Jesse. I don't know if Paige is going to be back. I don't know if Lexi's going to want to come back. West, for sure, would want to come back if he was given the opportunity. Kyle and Amanda? I don't know.
Kyle and Amanda, for sure.
You think so?
And I think Paige will come back. Like, Kyle was interviewed coming out of the upfronts, and he was like, yeah, the old crew will make it a nice round 10. Because this upcoming season would be season 10.
Mm-hmm.
And Paige is single and Amanda's still, kid-free at this point. So
yeah, I'm excited for the reunion.
Me too.
Again, like I said, I think last week, I go into so many reunions excited. It just feels like I still have higher hope in this cast than I do in any of the Housewives casts. I mean, Beverly Hills was such a infuriating letdown, you know?
Yeah.
And like I've compared Jesse to Kyle. I think that they're on the same spectrum of lack of accountability, willful lack of accountability. Obviously not the same sides of that spectrum, but so I don't have high hopes for Jesse at all, but I don't really care at this point. He's made his mess on TV for all of us to see.
But he doesn't see it. It's nuts. He's still
I
out
don't
in
think
the press
he's going to
just
see
being
it.
like, no, I'm good. I'm like,
that's
are
why
you?
I don't think he's going
Wow.
to say. That's why I think that isn't going to be satisfying. Well, it's not that it's not going to be satisfying. It's going to be satisfying to see him squirm, and it's going to be satisfying. I don't know. I wonder what the cast is going to say when they've actually watched the episodes.
I mean, even in this episode, they just keep saying, we're just trying to help you. And he won't accept the help. So it's like, all right, dude, then just be you and keep doing what you're doing. And you'll learn when it's time. And it's clearly not time yet. Like, he had a moment in this episode where he said something like, Lexi had said it was better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. And he's like, I don't think so. And then I think he said the most honest thing, which is like, I wish we had just done like, hey, you look hot today. And then I go hit on girls at the club. And I was like, yeah, I think we all wish that was the route you took, because this was a mess. This was a mess. He went from like, I love her on day one to, I mean, it's just so, this is the most head spinning like 6 weeks of a relationship we've seen on TV in a while.
I agree. Ooh, and then I just put my tin foil hat on. Maybe he's still claiming that he did nothing wrong because the finale and the reunions hadn't aired. And so he wants to, you know what? It ain't that deep. It's deep and it ain't that deep.
But it's fascinating. I did see a clip of him on some podcast being like, well, I'll be curious to see the finale episode. We only saw clips of it before the reunion. So he doesn't know. But I also don't think he takes it in. I don't think he sees Ciara sweeping out the trash. Like, don't bring 4 random sexy little devils into the house. That's the sacred space for the cast.
Yeah.
And the people they're going to hook up with. Like,
that's
don't
a really
do
good
that
point, Margie.
The
that's
day
such a
you
good
broke
point.
up with Lexi. Like, what a weirdo. He so weird.
That is a really good way of describing Jesse Solomon. Wow. sophomore slumps, careened into that sophomore slump.
But it made for a great season.
I
was
agree.
riveting.
I agree. Every season is so good. Josh is watching it from season 1, and this is when the twins are still on. Steven's still on. Christina is still on. Christina, Lindsay's first business partner / roommate, when they had the interns come into Lindsay's house. Oh, God. And they had all the fake work montages, like the calls, seeing Kyle on a call and Lindsay on a call on a New York City street. Anyway, this show is amazing.
It's incredible.
I think it's probably my favorite show on Bravo.
I do hope Lexi gets another shot because she did get kind of screwed by not having a newbie partner. Because while everyone was like, well, West still made himself available to the group. It's like, yes, but West had Jesse last year. Like, it's much easier if you go in as like a duo as opposed to just like one girl, anyways. And I thought Lexi, I know she and Ciara really clash, but I bet they could get past that once Jesse's out of the conversation,
I don't know. I don't know
either.
Clips from the reunion don't make it seem like that. But again, clips can be very misleading.
Yes.
So we all know how this sausage is made. We all know
Yes.
how the scenes from next week at the reunion are made.
Well, and I'm
just
bummed
excited.
out.
Yeah.
Because remember when they were promoting the season, they showed the conversation with Paige, Lindsay, and Amanda. And they showed Paige saying, like, I found, inappropriate texts in your DMs when she was talking about Craig. And somehow that didn't make the episode. I was like, excuse me, Bravo. That's some bait and switch right there. Maybe they'll play it for us at the reunion. But that felt like big news,
Yeah.
But who cares? I guess it's old news now.
Wow. Craig. Anyway. Oh, I will tell you, though, that after I took notes, something rolled into Southern Charm. And I was like, all right. And so I just let it play for a few minutes while I was playing my New York Times games so I wouldn't lose my streak. Lol. Anyway, should have been in bed. My point is that I saw enough where I was like, all right, I think I could get down with this show. I think I could get down with it. I love Southern decor so much. I love it. I love Palm Beach Regency. I love Savannah, Georgia pictures. I'm desperate to go to Savannah, Georgia. I know they shoot in Charleston, right?
Mm-hmm.
They love color there. They love a frock. They love a goddamn dress.
That was like part of when Paige and Craig started dating. Paige would always come to visit from the city in all black.
Yep.
And everyone there said like pastels and, and they were like, what is
flowered,
this?
flouncy dresses. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And
anyway.
hair always done. And
Yep.
anyways, it's fun. It's fun. And,
also,
like all of the shows.
It looks
shocking. And
yeah. Oof. Austin, Shep, and Craig. Blech.
Yeah.
Blech.
Great for TV, though. Great for TV.
How can women... I just can't imagine that Shep and Austin smell good.
Well, it's weird because, like, when the show started, they were cute. Like, Shep used to legitimately be cute, and now he's just like a haggard, old, weathered man.
He's so weathered.
Having seen the show from the beginning, I still... My first look at Shep is always like, oh, that cute boy. And then with some distance, like occasionally I'll see like all these boys just did a photo shoot in People magazine. And I was like, ugh, who are these people? And I was like, oh, because you forget. It's like how I look at my niece and nephews and still see babies, even though they're all like 6 feet tall and you know, full like adults are on the precipice of adults. And I still see like when they were just tall enough to like wrap their arms around your calf, like it's really weird. It's a very strange phenomenon. So I think that might be how Shep gets away with it. And he's rich and he's in the South and women like men down there. And I think, isn't there like a ratio problem? It's like,
oh, I have no idea.
3 women to every man down there. So I don't know. Who cares?
Fascinating.
I'm glad it caught your attention. That makes me happy.
It did. I wish I knew the characters' names. David and Vanita. Does that make sense?
JT and Benita?
He has slightly slicked back hair and a little bit of facial hair, I believe. I know
that's
she was wearing a
JT.
gorgeous green dress. They're very friendly with each other. I think he has a crush on her. It's unrequited. Anyway, I saw a scene with them.
Yeah.
And then I saw a scene with Madison scrolling through her laptop, looking at a beautiful event space. And I was like, oh, I can get down with that event space. I don't know. Just visually, it caught my eye.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're here to talk about Summer House, though. Let's get our Summer House on. This is Summer House season finale, season 9, episode 15, called The Summer Scaries. Summer Scaries.
I like it.
Yep, me too. Me too. Let's do it. We resume at the Freedom Dinner, Lindsay's Freedom Dinner, with sponsored sandwiches, probably. And Lexi tells Ciara that she does not trust her. And Ciara asked, do you think I've been mean to you? And Lexi tells her, look, I'm hot-tempered, and you're more of the let me suss it out type. And I love that about you. And with things I've heard all summer, you guys are taking it too far, and it's weird. And because of that, we haven't been able to bond. And I think she was saying that to Jesse and the bedbugs, possibly West. I don't know, but I think that it's safe to assume that she's referring to that group of 3 women. And then Jesse checks out with the bedbugs. Hey, do you think that Lexi wasn't able to bond with you because of me? And Lexi says yes, and Gabby says, I'll say it. So I interpreted that to mean yes as well. Yes, it's Jesse's fault. Amanda says no. Paige says, well, did you actively isolate her? And she says no. And then Ciara says, listen, you and Jesse were enamored of each other. Fine. But did you make yourself available to us? No. When West and I dated last summer, yes, he was new, but he made himself available to everybody else despite being in a relationship with me. And West's eyes when Ciara mentioned his name.
I know. It was real sweet. It was like a real rom-com moment where he was
like
oh.
shock and also like, oh my God, she's mentioning me. Yes. Anyway, I laughed so hard.
He looked truly delighted.
Yeah.
It was very sweet.
Yeah. And Lexi concedes. She can see that. She can see where Ciara is coming from. Yeah.
But again, I just want to point out West had Jesse, and that's just a very different situation.
I see
it's
what
much
you're saying.
easier for me to go put myself out with a group of new people if I can come back to the room and talk to you. If I just go put myself out and there's no one, and I know they're all going to go talk about me because that's what they do. That's the nature of the show. I don't know. Yeah.
Wonderful point.
Lexi reiterates that Jesse, it felt like Jesse isolated her and pitted her against the other girls in the house. And honestly, I wasn't sure about the pitting against part until we find out later in the episode that Lexi had asked to go to the U.S. Open, and Jesse was like, nah, I'm taking Ciara, like your arch nemesis this season, as I claim to give a shit about our relationship.
Yeah. So many things we don't see.
Just bad choice after bad choice,
many
that
things.
kid.
Yeah. Lexi agrees and says, yes, I can see your point. I was more attached to. Go ahead. No, you take it
There
over,
was
please.
one little moment before that exchange where Jesse said that isolating her wasn't intentional, but she's making it seem like I'm vindictive. And I loved Gabby for stepping in and saying, stop worrying about your perception for a second. Stop worrying about how you're being perceived and actually engage with the issue at hand, sir, which she couldn't possibly do. Lexi agreed that she was glued to Jesse. She fell for him and she really liked him. And she says, this is why I fought for him for the last month, even after being clowned. And Jesse gets all mopey and just goes, okay.
Rolled his eyes. Such a dick. Such a dick. And I think the bedbugs are capable of being open. And I also think that, yes, just what you said, they are already super bonded. They're a trio.
Yeah. And they don't know Lexi at all.
Right. And I can see, you're right. And if Lexi's going in, I do think that she and Gabby bonded. And I think that Gabby was truly what everyone, Beverly Hills talked a lot about being a girl's girl. And this cast is talking about being girls'. And I definitely think the bedbugs are girls'. I think Gabby was the girl's girl for Lexi in this cast. And I thought Gabby was a full-on MVP last night at this Freedom dinner. Absolutely. Over and over and over to bring a sports reference in. And that's probably the only thing I can do with a sports reference is call someone an MVP. My point is...
What do you mean? You're a huge basketball fan.
Yes, I am. But I guess I don't really weave in... I'm not going to say Gabby took it to the paint and then she dunked it. I guess I could. And that's what made her the MVP.
100%.
Oh, yeah. And she did hella assists. You're right. And she got those rebounds. Jesse tried and she took it and she said, no, sir, I don't think so.
Well, and
yes.
And even West asked, what changed from when you dumped him 2 weeks ago? It's like, oh, God. And I think it was Gabby who said, like, shut up, West. Like, he just shut him down.
So funny.
And Lexi said that she realized she cannot trust Jesse, and that's a deal breaker. And she says, when my friends are asking me, oh, who you're dating, and I'm embarrassed to tell them because of how you've treated me like shit for half of our relationship. And Jesse laughs her off. And he goes, I haven't treated you like shit. This is just the most pointless circular argument because Jesse cannot listen. Lexi cannot drop it, and so they're never going to get anywhere. And Lexi just says again, for the record, I think you lie by omission, if not lie outright. And I think you're sneaky and you're only happy when it's me and you, because basically he wanted her to himself all summer. And she says, because you like to frickin' suffocate me, which is like not the most romantic take on the summer. And
when
then
Lexi,
go ahead.
When Lexi said that she was embarrassed to tell her friends, like my stomach did a little like, oh, my throat caught a little bit. Because I remember, you might remember, this is friggin' almost 20 years ago, but there was someone that I was embarrassed to say that I was still.
I remember.
Yeah, I know.
I went to a party to meet him.
I have no clue. I had no doubt you knew who I was talking about. I was so embarrassed. I still feel embarrassed. Clearly I have work to do around this. I still feel an amount of shame. You know when you forget about a coffee mug and then you find it on your desk and you look down and it's just like,
There's a ring
shit
at the bottom.
Yeah, and sludge, and you're going to have to soak it in some hot water for a beat before it's all going to come out in the dishwasher. I have that amount of shame left, when I think about this. I would be embarrassed to tell you. I would get a crumb and make it out to be a huge thing, and I would call you to tell you about it, and you would be quiet, and you just would not be as excited or hopeful about what I was sharing with you.
But I mean, I've done the same.
Oh, I know.
We've
I'm
all
not.
been in
This is
these.
not. This is just to paint the picture of me being able to relate so hard. And I had a therapist at the time who we were kind of similar in age, and maybe that wasn't the best for me. I'm not sure, but I know she really cared about me, and I did get a lot from her. I remember her finally just looking at me like, I don't think he's just not that into you, and you are accepting like wake up. Whew. If his name comes up in conversation with friends that know who this person is, I just want to I have not forgiven myself. I have not forgiven myself for this. Interesting.
Yeah.
All roads lead to Bravo, man.
They really do.
I could relate to Lexi when she said that. And
100%. The number of times I've been embarrassed to tell people like, oh, we're back together.
Yep,
and they're like, you're what? With who? And I'm like, sorry about it.
Yeah, I know. And I would have hope. I know who you're talking about.
Oh, there was multiple people.
And I would have hope.
Felt that twinge of like, I went out with blah, blah, last night.
I would have, yeah. I remember he even talked to Josh at our wedding.
Oh, right.
And I was like, oh, I had magical thinking about who you're talking about. Is it okay that I'm bringing him up too?
Yeah, of course. But
Okay.
there were multiple even before that one. You know, there's all that's the
Yes.
thing. Like love is really tricky. It is
Yes,
chemical
I
and
remember that one too.
it fucks with your brain chemistry.
It
So
does.
at least for me, I kept trying to revisit that place. I'm like, I know that place exists for us. We felt
Yes.
that for a while.
Yes.
Why is that gone? It can't just be gone. Let me try one more time. Let's try it going to this wedding. Let's try it going on vacation. Let's try it just hanging out and watching TV. Like, let's find it. It's got to be here somewhere.
Oh my God, totally.
And
Totally.
it takes what it takes to realize it's gone. And for
Well-
Lexi, it was a toe suck and a manicure. And then if she had any questions, it was him talking to these 4 sisters that he offers a ride home to.
God,
and then to
I
come
didn't hear
straight
him
back to
offering
his
a ride home.
Oh yeah, and then he said, "Yeah, we'll just drive back to the city, and we can go back to my apartment."
Oh
and
yeah,
chill.
yeah, I remember that. I just figured he was joking. Yeah, but yes,
well, he always thinks he's joking, so you could be right.
the person that I need to forgive myself around for accepting crumbs and remembering the potential instead of the reality in front of me. That person I was heading towards walking through the threshold of a SLA meeting, a Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous meeting. And he was definitely one of the last, maybe the second to last relationship that was like, oh, I got a problem. I'm no longer, this is no longer okay. And then there was the one that put the nail in the coffin. And I was like, oh, I qualify for this. I gotta check this room out. And then I was all, oh, damn. Should this have been where I needed to be all along? It doesn't matter. I found it when I found it. It was the perfect time. So bless this person for helping me find my way.
But truly, I mean, I think, again, I just can't harp on enough how this thing we do to ourselves of like, I did it wrong. I got it wrong. No, you didn't. There's no fucking way to learn anything until you make all the mistakes. And I loved the conversation at the end of this episode that was like, none of us are where we thought we would be. It's not to say it's better or worse. It's just not at all what any of us envisioned. And I think that is the nature of growing up. And this lie that I think is perpetuated by social media of like, you can actually nail it. You can have it all look right, get everything, do it right. It's like, you can't. Because again, the people who I idolized in my 20s, who I'm like, how did they do it? They did it all right. They got the career and the husband and healthy kids. Cut to mid 40s and like the stuff that wasn't dealt with then arises to be dealt with now. It's like, it's just again, there's nothing wrong with either side of that. It's just the nature of being a human being. And I do it to myself, of course, but my like heart breaks when I hear my friends being like, I fucked up. And like, no, you didn't. You just had to like, you got to a great place and it had to take a road through that guy and a couple others,
I do. Yes, I agree with everything you said. I agree with everything you said. You're right.
And it made your wedding like that much more impactful. Like, again, your wedding vows are some of the most memorable I've ever seen taken because they were so honest. Because you guys were both like, I know everything that I love about you and everything that drives me nuts about you. And I'm here standing at this altar to say I'm in it to go the distance through all of those things, to celebrate all the things that I already adore, to find new ones, and to stick it out when the ones that I don't love take center stage. And I was like, is everybody here listening to this? This is revolutionary. It was amazing. I have such a vivid memory of that exact moment, like how you guys were looking at each other and what you were saying. And there was so much freedom in it. You were both like light and smiling and just knowing what you were doing up there. It was gorgeous.
God,
Anyways.
friend, thank you. You just made my face hurt from smiling.
And it wouldn't have had that impact had I not gone to the party to meet this piece of shit and been
You're
unimpressed.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I see it. I see it all. I see it. You're right. Ah, wow. And it's true. We do live those vows now more than ever. And it It's a real fucking trip. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I need to look those vows up and print them out. And I know they're somewhere folded up, but I would like to print them out and frame them. You're right. You're right. Ooh, see? Bravo. You never know what's going to come from talking about it when you can relate to Lexi. Lexi Wood. God fucking bless.
Ugh.
So Wes says he wants to hang out with you too much, but he also treats you like shit. And again, Gabby MVPs and says, shut up, Wes. Yes. Yes. Dude, he is. Jesse is a toxic dater, love bomber, can't handle real intimacy, won't commit, also wants it on his terms. Yeah, yes, they moved too fast. He can be a love bomber. He can be a toxic dater. And the point is that they moved way too fast. But talking about me and my husband, moving fast can also work. We said, I love you on our second official date, but I think we knew something was different about this when we were still just talking on the phone. I lived in LA. He lived in San Diego. Everyone was like, this is too fast. And we kept telling people, I can understand what you're saying. I understand how it might look, how it feels is not too fast for us. We were also considerably old. Well, I was considerably older than Lexi. No, yeah, I was about 7 years older than Jesse, I think, when I met Josh. I met Josh when I was 38, and Jesse's 31?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
So, Josh isn't Jesse by a long shot.
No.
And we knew. So it is possible to know within 5 weeks. These two are not me and Josh, is what I'm saying.
No. And there were so many, there were just a lot of, and there wasn't like a toe-sucking incident early on. With you guys.
God, no.
Okay,
oh my God.
There were just so many things happening here that were like, does this have the place in a committed long-term relationship? I'm not sure.
Oh my God. But Paige and Ciara, they are urging West, like, oh my God, you're finally talking. Please keep going. And then he says, like, West says, and who is not a relationship expert, by the way, he said Jesse talks shit to the bed bugs because all four of them have a whole year-long history of friendship. So he could talk to them about the issues that they were having when people are dating. Gabby again is like, shooting it down, blocking. She is blocking. There's more basketball. And Wes does not appreciate her ad libs.
Yeah, because she said just because he's known them longer, he gets to run his mouth. That argument makes sense to you? And Wes gets all flustered and Jesse just whines and mopes. And he's like, I'm not trying to make Lexi look bad. It's like, yes, you are. Because she broke up with you because of you. You ran to your bedroom and talked about Ciara. You're a liar and a turd. Whatever. Yes. We get a little confessional from West that's like a little petty and lame. And he's like, Gabby has no ground to stand on to talk about relationships because she's never exposed a romantic relationship for scrutiny like everyone else in the house has. I get what he's saying, but also that doesn't mean she should shut up when you're being a dumbass. So
she has shared things about dating. I mean, there was that time that Danielle was like pushing her so hard on the guy that Danielle ended up hooking up with.
But I get what West is saying. It's not the same as West and Ciara, Amanda and Kyle, where like people are in your relationship and having big opinions about it. But again, it's weird coming from West this season when he's shared nothing about his romantic life and has actively hidden his sex life from the cameras. So it's like, thanks for talking, West, but like just think this through a little bit. And Gabby's not doing anything wrong. She's just saying, don't say stupid shit.
Don't say stupid shit. And he did keep his extracurricular activities away from Ciara to be respectful. I think he did learn his lesson.
Which was the right thing to do.
I agree. But
don't come at Gabby for not putting hers on camera when you're making sure to keep yours off camera. Like, come on, dude.
When Gabby said she's not going to give West credit for mediocrity, Again, MV fucking P, triple double, whatever.
A hat trick.
Honestly, it was chef's kiss when she said that. Not going to get, it's true. It's true. Those bed bugs were egging on mediocrity. I mean, I don't even know if he's mediocre with his takes, West.
I think, yes, I think they were seeing a different picture at play here. They were seeing the West never speaks up for people that he cares about lens. And so they weren't looking at is Jesse right or wrong? And they were just like, West, you never speak up for people in moments of need. And now's a good time. This is your friend. So keep it going, keep going. But it was an ill-advised take. That's how the year of friendship is expressing itself in this moment. It's like they finally see someone who backs out of every conflict situation having a voice, and they're like, keep trying.
Yeah, okay, I can see that too. I can see that. It felt mean-spirited because it did feel like it was still in an effort to gang up on Lexi. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. They were not being kind to her.
Okay,
she was collateral damage and they didn't care.
They were
cute.
committing fouls. They were committing fouls.
Look how deep into this you've gone now.
I
love
am
it.
really proud of myself. Yes. So, you friend, you go.
Yeah, we just wrap out the dinner with everyone joking about Carl writing his extra long breakup anniversary post. And Carl and his...
Lindsay's posts or Carl
they
wrote
joke
one too?
with Carl. They're like, can we help you write your post, Carl? 7 years ago. Lindsay and I broke up. And
I thought they were referring to Lindsay's post. I mean,
no,
I know
they were
that they
teasing
were,
Carl.
but okay, got it.
And Lindsay had a laugh at it. And then Carl in his confessional says that he hopes the outcome of the freedom dinner will be never having to talk about the breakup again and everyone's free to move on. And the realization and it seeming comfort with we're not going back to the friendship we had. So it's just like a lot of clarity. And I think that seems good. And it seems right. Like they seem fine after this stupid dinner.
I agree. I think that they both appreciate the closure. I think that Carl has a little bit more closure than Lindsay does.
I think the birth of that baby maybe brought a new level to her because she has a new focus.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. In that moment, Carl was,
It broke my heart just a smidgen when he said, we'll never have the friendship we had before.
Yeah.
It did.
Painful.
This finale felt final in many ways.
Yeah.
And a lot of finales, well, I mean, never mind. Who knows? Some finales feel final. This one, it was palpable finality that you could see and feel. Damn, getting real deep about Summer House of all
I felt
things.
the same way. Like it broke my heart, and I'm sure it broke both of their hearts. Like that's 8 years of history that's dead. Because it has to be for both of them to realize their full potential in this life. They cannot be tied to each other. They're toxic now, but that's a lot to let go of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, so the guys are going to go out. The girls are going to go put on their cozies. And I love that the girls are just having none of that. Like, fuck that. Bye. Go. Have fun. Paige and Jesse are having a quasi postmortem on the couch. And Paige just tells them, listen, you just went too hard, too fast. And Ciara comes in and says, I think it's the right thing that you guys break up. And he starts flirting with her immediately. He has learned nothing. Is he constitutionally incapable of being honest with himself and others? TBD. But so far, no. So far, he's not.
Weirdly, he doesn't seem like Tom Sandoval. It seems like he's well aware of what he's done wrong. He just doesn't want to admit it. He wants to keep trying to get away with it.
I see.
Because this hasn't aired yet, so he still thinks he's cute and he's what would Jesse Solomon do? That America's going to forgive him. He underestimated us and overestimated himself, and it's not great.
He needs the validation from the people on the street that pass him and
Clearly.
The
second he has a fight with Lexi in the kitchen and 20 seconds later, he's talking to 4 blondes telling him he's going to take him home to his apartment. Like Good Lord. You are, and again, with the bigger picture in mind, he has just hit the 5 mark of cancer survival. He has been gifted a life. So like in a way, get it. Get all the girls. You were at a place where you thought you might not see your way through your 30s, and now you have that chance. Great. But you just gotta be cautious of, there's a way to do this without harming Lexi's along the way. He'll do this again. This will be a problem again. Because he said, when Paige said you went too fast, too hard, he's like, yeah, I've never done that before. I've learned my lesson. And then the next night, he's with 4 girls saying he'll do anything for them. He's learned nothing.
Yeah.
Anyways
is right. Yes. And then Amanda says, and this should have been foreshadowing, I just never thought it would be, the body isn't even cold yet regarding their relationship. Yeah, the body isn't cold yet.
Flirting
and then
with
at the
Ciara
party,
while whining about Lexi.
Right.
It's like,
flirting
buddy.
with Ciara, and then flirting with the devils, and I think he was flirting with other. I think
everyone.
He was flirting with sisters in green, and then he was flirting with devils in red. So, anyhoot. So we pivot upstairs, and Ciara and Paige are in bed, and Ciara asks Paige, what kind of guy is going to make you do a double take? And then she references, I think this was a reference to the finance guy.
I thought she was like being honest. Like 6'3" in a suit, longer hair.
And she did get Craig to change his hair, right?
I don't know, but Craig is about 6'3" and wears suits, so it makes sense. And I thought the next conversation was really interesting, where Ciara said she's only told one boyfriend that she was in love with them. And Paige says she's told every boyfriend, I love you. And then she says, but then looking back, I just loved my life and he was there. And I was like, oh, it gave me chills. It's like, yeah, some relationships are just accessories to a good life, a good time in your life. And other relationships actually enhance your life and make it bigger and more beautiful.
Wow. Something just struck me when you said that. I know I felt something when she said it. I loved that perspective, that she loved her life. I think that is a product of growing up with self-esteem. I find it so refreshing that Paige is she seems real sane with her takes. And it seems like she's able to check in with herself at certain points. I did not have that skill necessarily. I wasn't able to kind of step away and look at things when I was scared in a relationship, in a professional capacity, whatever, financially. My knee jerk was, some aspect of freeze, fight, flight. And everything felt like it was because I wasn't good enough in some way. And I don't see Paige having conversations with herself about not feeling good enough. I have no doubt that everybody who is a creative has imposter syndrome at some way, shape, or form, in somewhere along the way. I think that is a human experience. I think to the extent that you feel like an imposter can vary, but if she said I have imposter syndrome, I wouldn't chalk that up to self-esteem. Am I making sense? Like, it's seeing someone that loves herself and really practices loving herself and respecting herself and knowing her boundaries and figuring them out. It gives me hope.
I do think, again,
for the generations, younger generations.
Of being gentle on our generation, I do think this is hopeful for the evolution of women. I notice on this show, it's always the women setting the boundaries and holding them. Lexi dumped Jesse. Ciara took distance from West. Paige is leaving Craig because she was starting to doubt herself. Like she was, and she looked not at what's wrong with her, but if something circumstantially was causing a problem. She did both. She called therapists and got medicated. And when those things weren't helping, she was like, is there something in my life that's perpetuating a problem? And again, I was just talking to a friend about this. My mom was from the South and my dad from the Midwest. And we were raised that like your priority is to land a man. And that's what makes everything okay. And in fairness, when my mom got married, when my mom birthed my sister, it was still at a time when a woman could not have a credit card. She could not buy a house without a man. So for everyone talking shit about like, why do you need a man, blah, blah. And I get the programming she installed in my sister and I is flawed, but I understand where it comes from. You can't have anything if you don't have a husband. She stayed with kind of a rotten husband because when she married him, there was no other path to a roof over her head. She entered the workforce, she was one of 6 women in her law school. And as a female lawyer, it was an unsustainable career because she got called in before all the partners and they criticized her outfit, calling her distracting because she wore like Diane von Furstenberg wrap dresses and fishnets. And I guess that like showed too much tits and knees or something. I don't know. So I try to remind myself to be gentle with like the weird programming my sister and I got came from a place where there were no options. We now have options and we're exercising them, which is fucking rad. And this next generation seems to understand that they have autonomy. So it's gone from no options to autonomy. And I think that's rad.
Wow. Autonomy. That's it.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
And Craig is still trying to force that old ideal on Paige of like, you need a man, we need a family. Don't you fantasize about holidays? And she's like, maybe later, but like right now,
wow.
I can buy my own house. I can get a credit card. I can freeze my eggs. Like you couldn't do, my mom wanted to have kids. You gotta get somebody. There wasn't that option back then. Fuck. Anyways.
Yeah. Then we see the Paige confessional when she says that she's anxious about going on tour and she'd rather be feeling happy about going on tour. And she feels bad about being anxious. And I related this so hard, and I talk about this in therapy, judgment about the feelings that I'm having instead of accepting and just getting curious about why I'm having those feelings is a one-way ticket to me just being smothered by the depression kitty. Like I'm heading to that depression kitty at 100 miles per hour when I judge my feelings. And Paige had like awareness about it. And so even though I could relate to having judgment about feelings, she's still on her own side. And she said she's trying to stay present about it and not think about Craig's feelings about her going on tour too much. Oh, we're seeing...
more specifically, not worry if Craig is mad about it, which I think is... Yeah, she has clarity of like what is an issue. And then it just took a couple months to figure out what the next step is. And I think she did everything right.
I do too.
It's all sad, but it's,
yeah. I think that it is the autonomy. I think you're right. These women have autonomy. Mm-hmm. Amanda seems to be getting it. Mm-hmm. And maybe I think Lexi's very young too. Isn't she like 26? Mm-hmm. She's like a baby. And again, 26 is a spectrum. I'm not saying that all 26-year-olds are going to navigate dating like Lexi. But even she at the beginning of the season is like, no, I go in fast, I go in hard, but she lets people know. I never let people know that I needed reassurance.
That I wanted to date, like Lexi said, like I'm a relationship sex girl. Like I only do that when I'm like with someone for the long haul, as opposed to like our generation, which was like, I'm cool, I'm chill.
Oh God.
I don't know, we'll just hang out, we'll figure it out as we go. Where if I was being honest, like the truth would have been like, I'm not chill.
Yeah.
And
there is
And then I will behave like a psycho when I pretended I was chill and I'm absolutely not. And,
Yeah. There was 0.0 things that were chill about me. But it was full gone girl generation. You got to be cool. You got to be the cool girl. Oh, it's cool. It's cool. On the inside, nothing was fucking cool. Literally nothing was fucking cool.
There's a guy I wound up dating in New York, and he later told me that my friend from college set us up because he's like, Margie will help you get over your ex. Because that's how much of a committed cool girl I was, that I was just like, I'm fun. I'm a good time. I'm a good hang. Anyways, and he was a 6'5" man in finance, trust fund. Yeah.
I think I know
That
who you're
didn't
talking
last.
about. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe?
He was, yeah. That was so tragic. I bought us tickets for the ballet on Valentine's Day and he didn't show up, and he was out of town visiting his ex-girlfriend. And I was like, oh my God. What? I was 21, 22 when that happened. So
Put that in a TV
you don't know
show.
till you learn.
Yeah, I agree.
So sad.
You don't
And
learn
I watched
until
the
you
ballet
learn.
just crying.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I hate
What are you
this
gonna
story.
do?
What are you going to do?
Look, I was a kid, like, I don't know. Whatever. And I wasn't honest with him. I went into that with the label that my other friend had given me as just like a cool girl who's a fun hang. She's super chill. It was not super chill. I bought us tickets to the ballet on Valentine's Day. That's not chill.
Yeah.
That's someone looking for a relationship.
I was real straightforward with Higgy when we first started dating and we were just talking on the phone. And looking back, I am really glad that we had that distance to get to know each other. We talked on the phone every night sometimes for hours, and we would text here and there throughout the day. It was a good month before we went on our first official date. I was clear with boundaries right away, and I was clear with who I was right away. And I think I've shared before, 2 weeks into talking on the phone when we were planning the first time we could see each other on an official date. That's when we had the conversation, like, I'm 38, I want to have a kid. Are you on board? Or we shouldn't even continue this infatuation. And he said, sure. So that's when I knew I could continue talking. And I don't think I would have gotten those skills to say that without spending some time in slaw between those
God
last
bless
two
the broken
relationships.
road. Yes.
Yes, those last two relationships that led me to slaw. And then I knew what my bottom lines were, and I knew what my boundaries were. I was doing everything opposite that I did before, except for wishing that I was thinner, thinking that that was going to be the thing. If I wasn't thin, or he didn't like the way my apartment was decorated, those were going to be deal breakers. Wow. My stomach isn't flat enough. You're not gonna be down with this. Sad, dude.
It's not. It's normal. It's self-protection.
Okay.
And it didn't interfere. It didn't stop the relationship,
It stopped me, though, in moments that I should have been present or on my side. I bailed myself or was too...
should have is such a dangerous place.
Oh,
it's
I
like
know.
it didn't stop you. It's, again, responsible for our second thought and our first action.
You're right.
So the first thought is always going to be, my stomach's not flat enough. But you found your way to intimacy anyway.
Yeah.
It didn't...
Yeah.
You didn't end the relationship or live in the dark,
No, you're right. Oh my God, you're right. You're right.
And also, part of growing up is learning that those things actually don't matter to someone who actually loves all of you. I remember a long-term boyfriend I had. I was new in eating disorder recovery, and I would still talk shit about my body. And he was like, hey, it's fucking insulting to me when you do that because I like your body. So when you talk shit about it, I feel stupid. And I was like, whoa, that blew my mind. And it changed how I talked about myself, because I was like, why would I do that? If someone is, fooled into thinking this is hot, why am I going to talk them out of it? That was a really lovely conversation, because I had never considered an outsider's perspective on my shit talking of my own little vessel here.
I had a few people talk to me. I have that similar conversation with me. And it was
It's
true.
powerful.
I never saw it, and it never left. Like, oh, yeah. It was, it stunned me. It caught my attention Like,
because they're not there to I mean, I grew up in ballet where they, every fall they put you in front of the mirror and pull at your body and pick you apart. You need to lose weight here. This is too fat. This is the, and I was under some messed up impression that that's what everyone does is once they get a look at you, they're going to just circle you and take their time deciding what's good and what's bad. And it's just that's not a relationship. That was such flawed logic on my part. God bless me. But it really snapped me out of it. That one conversation will stay with me forever. So
forever.
hooray.
Forever. Oh,
Yeah.
God. All roads, man. All roads lead
Right?
to Brav. Yes. So Kyle comes home drunk because he wants to be a dad. Emeril has been shamed into not bringing anybody home. I think that's probably why I'm projecting.
I don't know, it's their last weekend.
You're
It's,
right.
And they have a big party that started at 5:30 the next day. Whoa, that's a hard night to have a threesome.
And Wes brought that whole platter of sandwiches upstairs. I couldn't tell if it was the Lindsay sandwiches or the Carl sandwiches.
I think they had tossed the Carl sandwiches by then, but he did spill deli meat on his bed. And again, to your point, the smell in that room cannot be pleasant.
God. Oh, God. Febreze. And then I saw Jesse
Deli meat.
spraying a metric ton of cologne on himself at some point in this episode. Dude, too much cologne is so rank. It's so rank. Anyway. So the next day, Jesse says, I'm sad. I have to hang out all day with the girl who dumped me the night before. And then in his confessional, he says he would rather have not loved at all. You know that saying, it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all.
Shakespeare.
Lost the plot, man. Lost the plot. Yes. Yes.
Well, and also, again, this is where I also learned this in therapy to ask my partners what their definition of love is. Because for me, I always thought it implied fidelity. And that is not the case for many people I came to understand the hard way. So I don't know what he means. You didn't love because you met Lexi, told her you loved her. She was gone one weekend. You pushed your body on Ciara's and wiggled on her boobs. You got your toe sucked in a room where a naked threesome was occurring. What do you mean? You didn't love. Or maybe whatever your definition of love is just get a boner. I don't know. That, I need more clarity. So, yeah.
So true.
No, he's feeling real sorry for himself and really trying to make himself America's sweetheart. He's just not.
Dude.
And he ruined it completely when he entered the kitchen. I can't stand his singing. I couldn't stand it last year. I couldn't stand it this season. And this killed it when he sang, good morning, it's time to wake up in the morning, my sweet fellow. And Gabby, MVP, goes, that's a little much right now. And he goes, okay, well, that's what my mom's saying to me every day of my life. And I was like, you are such a little boy and you are annoying as fuck. And my sweet fellow, how are you not embarrassed? I love my friends that I made in my musical theater program at college, but this is why I couldn't ever be a full-blown musical theater major, piano scarf wearing, throat coat drinking. Nightmare.
Throat coat drinking. Throat coat drinking.
All of it's so ridiculous. And just the expectation that people are going to be like, oh, yay, bravo. And I loved Gabby for being like, absolutely not. When we're all hungover, do not come into the echoing kitchen and sing good morning and then yell at me about how that's what your mom's saying every day. So I must be a jerk. I can't stand him, dude.
Gabby and Lindsay check on Lexi. She's crying and overwhelmed. And she says, and this is so true, it's not normal to live with someone you've been dating for 5 seconds. Dude.
Yeah.
It's true. When I couldn't stand being at a party with someone I had dated and broken up with. That was nerve-wracking, let alone living with them every weekend all summer long.
It's just exhausting. And Lexi said that kind of she's lost her mooring without Jesse there because she has no one else. She feels really lonely. And she said, I was already feeling lonely. And now she literally has no one. She doesn't have, again, West had Jesse. Lexi has no one. Bailey lasted an episode and a half and we'll never hear from her again.
So strange.
So she's just been abandoned.
Danielle pulls up and I said out loud, oh no, not Danielle. I literally said it out loud. I was like, oh no, not Danielle.
I think that's the community feeling because I was like, oh, forgot about her. Okay. And then they
Hilarious.
do some personalized gravestones where Lexi makes hers read, "Here lie Jesse's lies," which I actually thought was funny. And Jesse could have taken it as like, look, your lies are dead and buried. It's over. Move it along. It's funny. You love jokes, Jesse. Your whole summer has been one joke after another. What's your fucking problem? Ugh,
Good
can't
point.
stand him.
Good point. Full hip. Full hip. So the party starts, and Ciara's costume is amazing as scary finance dude, Brantley.
She's so amazing.
She
and
is
she wore
so
full-on
amazing.
lifts so that she would be 6'5", actually.
So funny. So
Blue
funny.
eyes, trust fund, man in finance with her
I
little
feel like
briefcase.
if I had looked like Ciara, see, judging myself, compare and despair. If I had looked like Ciara, like she really does not do the costume is an opportunity to just look super sexy. Like she just wears
She goes the other direction.
Yeah, she
Like
does.
aggressively.
I
like
admired
that swan
about her.
outfit that she wore. Like,
yeah, the pelican. I think she
or
was
whatever.
a pelican.
Yes, a pelican.
Yeah. A
It was
pelican,
like-
not even like a sexy bird.
It was scary almost. But this is so brilliant. Like, and West is so dumb. He's like, what does that have to do with the theme? And Ciara in her confessional is like, there's literally nothing scarier than a 6'5" trust fund, blonde guy in finance. Like, she's like, read the New York Times, read a book. Like, these are the scariest people out there. And she said if she had a dick, she'd be dangerous too. She's like, I understand why they act that way.
Full
So,
menace, man.
right?
And we see immediately Jesse starts making introductions with every group of women there.
But not after he passes the gravestone that says, here lies Jesse's lies. And he goes, "Oh, I can't believe it. I'm about to lose it." I'm like, why? What is wrong with you? You're all over the place, sir. Get regulated.
What if the sisters in green or the devils see that and then his perception is his number one
You're right.
priority.
You're right.
It's the perception of himself. Dude, vaya con Dios. So Lindsay, Danielle, and Kyle are having a little chat off to the side and
An elders chat.
yes, fully. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And they're foreshadowing and hinting at the end of their relationship or their recalibration with their relationship to the summer house. Yeah, you're right. Kyle's probably going to be back. Lindsay,
Well, he said as much. Lindsay
Yeah.
goes, I love us. And Danielle says, we've been through so many summers. And Kyle's like, I could keep doing this.
I have no doubt.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Danielle is the one who kind of insists that the baby is going to be a turning point for Lindsay. And Kyle agrees at a certain point, you got to see a new chapter brewing.
It's
And
true.
Lindsay says something that I've heard lots of my friends who've become parents say, that it's an identity crisis. For Lindsay, especially, who's gone for like single professional childless TV star to mom who can't live in the party house that brought her profile to the point where it is now. And she even says, how am I going to make money? I don't know. And I was like, oh, isn't that what you yelled at Carl about last summer? Isn't that what caused the demise of your fucking relationship, is financial insecurity? Well, now you're getting a taste of your own fucking medicine. So, but God forbid she ever has any compassion for anyone else. Now it's her problem, her situation. So now it matters. But
So much breaking of the fourth wall in this episode.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good that the editors and Bravo have finally been like, yeah, this is a new era. This is not the Real Housewives of Orange County seasons 1 through 3, or New York. Or she's basically saying my bread and butter came from Bravo and me being on this show and on this network and going to these conventions. And how am I going to make money? Whoo! I appreciated the realness. That was the reality in the reality TV last night.
yeah.
Lots of reality in this episode.
Honestly, to Carl's credit, he's following a passion of his that whether or not Soft Bar succeeds or fails, he started the process of meeting people in a world he wants to be a part of. He's cultivating a new career path. And Lindsay, I worry about her baby being a kidfluencer before we know it. Because she's just looking for the next thing to exploit and put on TV, as opposed to like, what do you care about and how do you want to contribute? What do you want your legacy to be? She's like, I just want money, which is fine. Lots of people operate that way. I just don't want her baby to be
I
exploited
don't
because of it.
think that Turner, her boyfriend, the father of her baby, I don't know what their relationship status is. Some people seem to think that they are no longer together, she and Turner, but
I guess they live separately but co-parent, and I don't know if that means they're dating or not.
I don't either.
That seems fine.
I don't either. But he's, like as she says in the end, and she said before, he's on the opposite side of the spectrum from Lindsay as far as he's so private and her whole life is exposed.
And she likes it that way. It's not like she's protective of anything.
Yeah.
It's all out there.
Yeah.
I mean, she had her nipples out, milking away, and like
I appreciate that.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I guess my point is a Turner might be rattled by that. Someone who's not familiar with like the boundarylessness of reality TV might be like, wait, what? You showed my infant daughter in her crib and your boobs and what's going on?
Yeah.
But we're all used to it. I'm desensitized completely. But
I appreciated her showing the part of the realness. I couldn't get over, I know I'm jumping ahead, but I could not get over how organized her apartment was being a new mom. I would assume she has some help.
They just caught her in a moment.
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
Like,
you're right. Oh
she
my
knew
God.
cameras were coming.
Oh my
so
God.
she like,
you're right. You're right.
She put things in their place or had someone come help her put things in their place.
You're right. You're right. She just seemed like she had a way better handle on things than I did.
Excuse me. The baby she's been here for like what, 2 months or something at that point?
Was it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I remember
we'll get there.
listening to that
I have it
podcast.
down there.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I have
and
it down at the end of my notes. Yeah, I know exactly. So Jesse's working it with the sisters and the green and other various women. And I just wrote that he's stuffing those feelings of rejection down with some validation instead of just being in it.
Well, and this is where he's flirting with these girls. Lexi's watching because, of course. And Jesse says they ask for a ride back to the city with him. And he goes, I would literally do anything for you.
Oh, my God.
As Lexi is passing by. And she goes, oh. And Jesse says to the girls, we'll ride home tomorrow. We'll go straight to my apartment and chill. And that's gross. And Gabby passes by at that point. And she goes, what the fuck? Like, again, he's trying to make everyone feel sorry for him, for how sad he is about his ex. And meanwhile, he's just a mess. Messy Jesse. Lexi and Jesse are in the kitchen, and Jesse starts this conversation in just like the most hostile way. He goes, I don't know how to have a not negative conversation with you. I'm like, why don't you try? How about that? Why don't you listen for a sec? And Lexi says that she doesn't see a friendship with him anytime soon. There was a lot of deception, and she can't envision a friendship building on the heels of that. And Jesse's like, the way we broke up, so peaceful, so amicable. I would love to continue that energy. And she was like, I wanted that too, but then you got the whole house involved. And he's such a liar. He says, I went to my room to make sure I didn't say anything to anyone, except he was up there unloading without hesitation to a full house. And then he claims he apologized for slipping up and saying one little thing to Ciara. And I just wrote, he makes me feel insane.
Yeah.
Because we watched that whole scene. You talked to everybody. You held court and you made Lexi seem like a jealous nightmare who hated Ciara. And that was the reason she broke up. Like, he's awful. And this is where Lexi says, you didn't tell them the other half of the story, which was that the weekend prior, she had said it would have been nice for Jesse to ask her to the U.S. Open because she didn't have plans. And it was disheartening that he took Ciara, and she said, I don't want to have to keep teaching you.
That would have devastated me. If someone told me, I love you.
If it was West, it's okay. But like when the person at the center of our issues is the one you choose to take that little trip with, it's just like, sir, God.
Especially after we've exchanged I love yous after 11 days.
You
know?
At his request, he wanted...
Right.
You know, he's the one who wanted to be boyfriend, girlfriend, and she was the one putting that off. Like, but he painted it the other way around, that she was jealous and stalking him on Instagram. Like, he's just such a, you're right. It's all perception. He's just trying to manage his image. It's so gross.
It is gaslighting. This is real gaslighting we're seeing on TV.
Yeah.
God, what a manipulator. And then again, more fourth wall breaking. He says, we're on a reality show and I'm talking to my friends. You'll watch and see. And I was like, editors must have had some fun showing us that conversation, setting us up for the reunion. Like, okay, Jesse, yeah, we'll see. Again, I don't have high hopes that he's going to see anything at this reunion.
No.
I don't.
No,
Okay.
he's not. He's fully committed to his image of himself, and there's like a force field around him that won't let anything that doesn't serve that image penetrate. So he's just whatever.
God.
The Jesse who initiated this conversation is like, I don't want to do this, and walks out. And I'm like, oh my God. It didn't go your way, so you can't tolerate her feelings, so you bail. It's gross.
And then he shits the bed, goes outside, and continues to flirt with girls in front of Lexi. And he moves that little flirting group into the kitchen. And Ciara comes back in and she's like, I'm sweeping out the trash. And we learn that she's doing it to block Lexi from seeing Jesse. You just broke up. Like Amanda said, the body isn't cold yet. Wow. I mean, he's intentionally being hurtful in order to...
I think it's worse. I don't know if he gives a shit about anyone but himself. Lexi made him feel bad. These girls make him feel good. And again, the added boundary crossing of bringing them in the house, like random party guests don't get to come in the house. You have to be invited specially. So he's making them seem and feel special so he can feel special. Eventually, the girls get the hint and leave. And Amanda tells Jesse, if I saw that from the outside, I'd be pissed. And Jesse goes, I don't even care at this point. And Ciara goes, no, care. Just a little bit. And Amanda says, we're just trying to look out for you. But he's hopeless. He's a lost cause.
That's a girl's girl. Kyle, take note. I don't think Kyle would have blocked anybody from seeing PK flirt with someone in front of Dorit. I don't think she would. I think she would watch and be like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
Who knows?
Ciara,
She's so not front of mind anymore. It's been nice not to think
thank
of her.
God, right? I'm
So
sorry I even
annoying.
brought her up. I
No,
just don't...
when you said Kyle, I was like, Kyle, like Amanda's
Yeah,
Kyle.
other
And I was
Kyle.
like,
Oh my God, yeah, Kyle
Kyle.
Richards. Sorry,
Right.
sorry. Yes.
No, you're right.
So Ciara kicks everyone out. The bedbugs reconvene at the coffin, and Amanda has done a costume change, and I love that. I love that she did a costume change. Wasn't she wearing like the Maleficent horns at the beginning of the
I
party?
literally have no recollection.
I think
Everyone was
she
just
was
scary. I don't know.
Wearing a different costume at the beginning, or Paige was
Maybe
talking to
so.
someone else, but I thought she did a costume change. She had the Maleficent horns, and then at the end she had the
Axe in her head.
yes. I loved this scene so much. This friendship is genuine. It's palpable. You can feel it. Paige says she couldn't do this house without Ciara and Amanda. Oh, I felt this next part. I've had similar conversations with my husband, my therapist, my family, my friends. Kyle told Amanda once that she's so depressed in the fall and winter, and Amanda hypothesizes that it's because she's not with Paige and Ciara all the time. And I get this way too. When I get home from seeing my friends for a girls' weekend, or if I've spent a few days or a week with my family, when I come home, my mood dips hard. I'm telling you, it plummets. It's a free fall. Yeah, like I can set my emotional clock to it. And I think now I'm starting to prepare for it. So I'll either make plans for when I get back, or what I need to do is just surrender and accept. I'm going to need a few days to bounce back from this. I'm going to need to get more disciplined about writing in my journal and sitting with those feelings and asking those feelings what they're trying to tell me. Isolation is such a huge part of depression, at least my brand of depression. It looks like I feel like I could say that from what Amanda's shown us, it feels like that's her brand of depression too, is isolating. And again, I cannot stress this enough. We are still coming out of the high times of the pandemic. And we were forced to isolate. And so if you are prone to isolating and then you have to isolate, it's real hard to get out from that isolation habit and comfort and safety. You know, I don't want to share when I'm depressed. I feel shameful when I get in that place. And I have a feeling that shame is going to continue until I do some rain around it. Recognize, accept, investigate, and nurture. What is going on when I come home from this trip? I do feel lonely. I am in the Bay Area. My core group is in the Pacific Northwest and Southern California. One of my best friends does live here. Her schedule is considerably more busy than mine. And I often feel lonely up here. I think that has a lot to do with why my depression has kind of shown up more here. I could be totally wrong. Who knows? I could relate when Amanda shared the conversation that she and Kyle had and Kyle's observation. Dude, been there. And they strategized how to stay in touch through the fall and winter and while Paige is on her tour. I think this friendship group is real cute. I like them. I do. I enjoy watching this friendship group. I don't enjoy watching other ones. Year. You know, you think that all three of them will be back? I'm not sure about Paige, but we'll see. I'd like one more season with them, you know?
Yeah.
And then Paige says again, these are girls. As much as they have random guy problems, I mean, the fact that she said random guy problems and she's still in her relationship with Craig at this point kind of shows where she's at emotionally. She literally could give a fuck about the random guys because she's got her friends. And obviously this was foreshadowing. And I thought it was hilarious that she's, whether she's intentionally or unintentionally referring to her future breakup with Craig, they're doing the scene in a coffin. In a coffin. This relationship is dead. Inside Paige, she knows it's dead. And it's by a coffin. And I thought it was great.
Yeah. Then everyone goes to bed, and we have a confessional from Lindsay, like the softest version of Lindsay we've ever seen. She says she really genuinely had a good summer. This was her little bubble of happiness before shit gets real. And we cut to 3 months later where she's in labor and delivery at the hospital. She has the baby. It's very sweet. And she's weeping as she holds her daughter in the recovery room. And in her confessional, she says she now finally gets what everyone says about this like new level of love that's unlocked with the birth of your child. Which I thought was so sweet.
This scene really, it poked me in my tender spots. She got to the hospital, like she just entered the hospital at 8:02. And I have no doubt that she had probably already started like early stages of labor if she was going, you know, maybe her water broke at that point.
She was like sitting in the elevator and she looked a little like shell shocked and like, what the fuck is happening?
And then the next day, like 4:04 p.m., she was done. And I still have so many feelings and so much grief around that not being my experience and thinking it would be. So it's just more information that's still there, and that's okay. You know, she's breastfeeding and it just looks effortless. And I'm like, God damn, man. But that's not my story, and that is okay. And I think that I can probably work on having a new relationship with my son's birth story and how I became a mom. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe that sadness won't ever go away, but I would like to not compare. Like when I see a scene like this, I would like it to not unmoor me, but maybe that's just how it's going to be. I don't know.
Well, and
I'm curious
also, like
about
any
it.
kind of comparison, it's isolating that moment. In order to have that birth, you have to be Lindsay Hubbard. You have to terrorize the friends, people in your life. You have to burn down everything around you. And I'm not saying that's the only way to have that birth story, but like you go home and you're Lindsay Hubbard. That is a lovely blessing in her story. And I'm really happy for her that that's how that played out. And also, yeah, I'm sure she would want to change her early years story. Didn't her mom like leave her when she was like
Oh,
2
I
and
mean,
shit?
there's
And
so
like,
many things that
and
yes,
no
I
wonder she
agree.
was skeptical about that love that people talk about having when they have their child. She's like, oh, bullshit, because my mom walked the fuck away from me. So I don't think so. So in a way, it almost feels like it was necessary for her to believe in the bond of like, I have to raise this child. Because
Yeah.
even later she says, if I hadn't gotten pregnant, I don't think I'd still be with Turner. Anyways.
And I also, when I saw her in the hospital bed breastfeeding, I don't know if it's because I'm an adult child of an alcoholic. You know what? Wait, I do know where it comes from. I do. It is a coping mechanism. I had to remind myself, I had an internal conversation with myself. Like, Ramona, there were moments when you were still in recovery. I have to remind myself it wasn't all bad. There were some really great parts too. I need to incorporate that more into my story instead of just automatically going to the bad, which I think has got to be a coping skill to deal with some sort of feeling, but I don't know what it is, and I don't need to figure it out right now. It just looked different than Lindsay, and that's okay. Obviously, it's okay.
Yeah.
So,
And it's like any resentment, like it can't be done till it's run its course, you know? You have to have all of those feelings. You're entitled to all of those feelings until they stop serving you.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
until they start being destructive, you know?
yeah, yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know if that is happening, but I mean, I have my own reactions to any like birth scenes, you know, because like that'll never be part of my story. And, you know, that very phrase she talks about of like, it's a level of love no one can understand. So I'm locked out of that. Like, wow, that blows. But again, that's my own shit. And I've spent lots of time in therapy processing that. So it doesn't have the same charge. It's always like a twinge of like, that I won't know what that day is like, but I'm no longer attached to that being a tragic part of my story where I was for a
Yeah.
while.
I remember having a thought when she said that too. And I thought, that's not okay. Like, you don't get to,
But everyone
you don't,
says it, and I believe that that is an experience. Like I can't imagine what that experience is like when a whole fully formed human being comes out of your body and it's been there from like flat tummy to full giant pregnancy, but like observing it in others, it is magical. It's like, what? And then you built a bond with this little creature and then it emerges, you know. And of course, there's some people who aren't capable of bonding no matter what comes out of their body. But I do believe for lots of people, at least initially, there's something magical about how can there fucking not be? A whole little human person, like with his little hands, like looks up at you. What? It's nuts.
Anyway, we fast forward to Monday, December 30th at 9:07, and we start seeing the Paige and Craig breakup headline montages. And then we fast forward again to January 21st, 2025. Paige comes over to Lindsay's house. Champagne is popped. Lindsay has questions about the breakup. Amanda arrives. Am I missing anything?
No, just the headlines when they came up, it was
Oh,
really
yes.
interesting to be reminded that they were all about how Craig was shocked and then these rumors that Paige might have been cheating. And it is sweet. They come to Lindsay's and they all look at little baby Gemma sleeping and she's adorable in her little infant pose in her bed. And Lindsay does say mothering an infant is like Groundhog Day. It's feeding, changing, burping, pumping, soothing on constant repeat. And she's really grateful for Turner's help because she feels a little, especially for Lindsay, having spent time with my sister in the immediate aftermath of the birth of her children, there's no break. It's not like you do one day and then it's over for 7 hours. It literally never, she like never showered or went to bed ever. And I just remember one day she was sitting like trying to feed the baby and she just looked at me and she's like, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, nobody can. This is impossible. But she did. You just do because what are you going to do? Not do it? But she was just absolutely tapped the fuck out. She was exhausted and spent. And like Lindsay said, like when she talked about her nipples being long and like your whole body is just destroyed. And my sister had C-sections as well, like you, and the scarring, and you can't lift. And it was just like, nothing's healing and everything's in use. And it's just, yeah, that was one of like it was a real sweet way to see my sister, who's like her identity is about being competent and getting stuff done. And she just, in that moment, just was like, I don't think I can do this. And she did.
Yeah.
3 times over.
Agreed. I was competent and I could do anything. And then I was humbled. My sister and I had the exact same conversation you and your sister did. I was just trying to fall asleep or starting to fall asleep one night, and my sister was there, and Leo woke up and she's like, I think it's time to feed him. And I was like, I can't do this. She's like, Mo, you have to, in a really compassionate voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is it, girl. Like, I know you're exhausted and it's still something that you have to show up for. And yeah. Whew.
And even like I tried to take over in the middle of the night, but there's something Caroline said, there's something about the baby's cry where she can't sleep through it.
No,
so like
you
I would
can't.
get up and try to bottle feed, but she was already like up, and like it's almost like her body just stood up out of bed and she was like, I'm here. And I was like, why? And she's like, because I can't not.
Yeah.
I just have to.
Exactly. In those new days, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, she says that Turner is the greatest guy, but their big conflict is that he's private and she's public. And like you already said, she doesn't know they'd be together if she didn't get pregnant, because she doesn't want to compromise. This is who she is. This is what she does. And I admire that. And I don't think that I don't think anyone should have to change for anybody if they're doing their true calling.
Lindsay hooks up her breast pumps.
Yeah.
And then the conversation turns to Paige.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she feels bad, that she feels good. She's certain she made the right decision. And that she said that was solidified when she had a conversation with her dad just a couple days after the breakup, where he said that he could see her personality coming back, implying that she had dimmed significantly with Craig. And Amanda said, this was really sweet. She said she had seen a difference in Paige over the summer, but she just let Paige share what she was comfortable sharing. And I was like, that's so lovely.
Yeah, I like this friendship. And Paige said she didn't realize how different she was until she was on tour. And she felt really anxious, and she knew it wasn't about being on tour specifically. She was on medication for her anxiety. It sounds like I'm thinking that was the medication a medication she was alluding to was for anxiety.
She talked about it openly, that she started taking beta blockers because she was having panic attacks and like couldn't get on, like was having trouble getting on stage.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, yeah.
God, I love a beta blocker. She called her mom every day, and she asked herself, this broke my heart. She asked herself, am I being dramatic because I'm a girl? Fuck the patriarchy, fuck misogyny, both internal and external. And I hated that she felt like that. And that women have to be worried. We can't just have feelings without that voice in the back. I don't know, maybe some can. You're going to be seen as hysterical, dramatic, you cry, oh God, I felt bad that she had that experience.
Relatable. But what I appreciate is that she still got help, is that she still reached out to her family for support. She reached out for psychiatric support and clearly did whatever therapeutic work she needed to do to come to the decision to end things with Craig. But not before they all take a shot of Lindsay's chilled breast milk, which was an unexpected detour. And Paige says that she realized it was over when Craig asked her at Thanksgiving if she fantasized about hosting holidays with their kids. And she said, I don't think I do, and that's not fair to you. You deserve to have the love of your life, and I do too. And I can't pretend that we don't have these issues. I don't think I'm feeling the things I'm supposed to be feeling if we are getting engaged in the next year. And he asked to have an in-person conversation when he's in New York in December, which they did. where he just said to her he wished she hadn't done this before she saw the ring, which is so manipulative and gross. And Paige said, I wasn't sure I believed him. This is why we're breaking up, because I don't know if you're lying right now, which is just echoes of Jesse all over the place. And that's such a manipulative thing to say. Whether he had the ring or not, how dare you say that you could buy her with whatever this ring looked like? That's so gross.
Shocking and disgusting. What must he think of her?
It's what he thinks of all women. Welcome
right,
to Southern
exactly,
charm.
Exactly. That,
I'll shut you up with this piece of jewelry.
I'll shut you up with this big diamond. I was disgusted. What a piece of shit. He doesn't respect her. He doesn't respect any women, it seems like, when he makes that statement.
In that moment, it's just, I want what I want. And so now I'm going to be a bitch about getting it. And I'm going to say something really fucking twisted to someone who I may have respected, but I just want to get what I want so bad. He did her a real favor, though, because like in moments like that, there's no question. Anyways, she waited 2 weeks after they broke up and then put it out on the podcast. And I listened to that episode, and it was real emotional and made a lot of sense. And she was respectful of him. And then shortly thereafter, cheating rumors erupted about Paige. She asked Craig to shut them down, and he refused, saying the coldest bullshit ever. I don't feel comfortable saying anything at this time. And then she's like, he's dead to me now. And I'm like, he's dead to me too. What a gross pig. Just don't respond if you're going to say something so shitty to your girlfriend of 3 years who you know wasn't cheating. This is just fucking hideous behavior.
And then she said, I defended the fuck out of him this all the time when we were together, and they haven't spoken since. And Amanda says that she and Kyle both texted him respectively, and even Kyle didn't hear back. Shit, man. He showed himself. Paige knew. She knew. She
did. It's just one of those things. Same with Lexi. Like, you hope it's not going to be like that. And then once the breakup happens, you get a real clear look at why you left. Mm-hmm. And while it's still really emotional and sad to go through a breakup, when there's clarity that there's no way this person is in any place to be a good match for me right now, it does make it possible to weather those feelings a little better, maybe.
And then oh, go ahead. No, you.
No, this was the thing I'd mentioned at the beginning that I loved, where Paige said that they're all in their 30s. And she says, the number one thing I've learned, not that my life is better or worse than I imagined, but it's not what you imagine, which is such a crazy mind fuck. I feel like with all three of us, this is not what we pictured. And Lindsay says, I love us, and they toast to themselves. And I just feel like that's the perfect encapsulation of adulthood. Your 20s and 30s are exactly that, envisioning a future, having it shattered in a million different ways with like new, unbelievably exciting things showing up in its place, and also feeling the loss of the things that you thought you really wanted. I just thought that was a lovely, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was lovely.
Yeah, dude. On Watch What Happens Live, after this episode aired, Kyle and Lindsay were on, and at some point in the episode, I can't remember what prompted it. Oh, I think Andy asked her, what would you tell season 1 Lindsay? She said, no timelines. I would say it's all going to be okay. And she would also, what would she have changed? Like no timelines, because it's true. And I remember my Al-Anon sponsor, shout out to Renee, she became like an older sister I never had. And she would always say, like, it's going to be okay. One day you're going to look back on this and you're going to see it was all okay. And there's no need to be scared right now. And I wanted so badly to feel that on a cellular level and rely on that in how I would go through my day. But the terror that it wouldn't be was so, it was so real, Anyway,
Well,
so.
And I just don't.
And that's human too.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
you can't know to not have timelines until
until you know
40.
not to have time. Right.
Yeah, sorry, but like those were coping mechanisms. They were tools to keep me getting up and out of bed every morning. It was what helped me pursue the things that led me to the things I actually loved. Like, I don't know. I get it, but plenty of really wise people in my life told me all these things in my 20s. I heard them and I could not apply it. It's not that I didn't even believe they were right. I just couldn't apply it because I hadn't been alive long enough to do so.
Yeah.
And her timelines are what made her a reality star.
Yeah.
That's what she's known. Like, if you take that away, then who is she? Just like a regular girl having Taco Tuesday? Like, who gives a shit?
You're right.
Like,
You're right. You're right.
how many sandwiches have you made for me, girl? All you
You're
do
right.
is keep score.
Yeah.
That's your whole fucking
You're right.
intrigue.
You're right.
Whatever.
That is Lindsay. That is what makes Lindsay Lindsay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how we ended it. My note was, holy shit, I thought this was a great finale.
Me
I thought
too.
it was a great finale.
It was. It was real
So,
great.
I can't wait for the reunions. Friend, what else did you watch this week?
Dude, I almost texted you 10,000 times, but I didn't want to. I was too close to it. I didn't want to give anything away. So I started watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, season 2. Did you watch season 1?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I don't know I don't know what's in me that makes me feel hesitant. I think it's the Mormon aspect of it all.
I wouldn't be surprised because I've been doing a lot of thinking about this because I've been watching over the last year, like a lot of Mormon programming, like Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Welcome to Plathville, Sister Wives. Like, why? And I realized watching this season that it's women raised in Mormonism. It's like parallel to being raised in an alcoholic household because your explicit mission is to please an unreasonable leader, generally a man, at whatever sacrifice to your own mental, physical, emotional, spiritual well-being. And you risk losing everything. In Mormonism and in an alcoholic household, you risk losing your safety, your position in society. If you betray that, you risk it all. And so I think that's what sort of speaks to me in these shows of watching people try to navigate it. And what's really cool about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is these are all really young women, like in their early ass 20s, who are bucking that. And they are risking losing everything. And what's happening is exactly what we talked about with these women on Summer House is autonomy. They can make their own money. They can have their own lives. They can enjoy sex. They can, all the things that the Mormon church says you're bad and rejected if you do these things. They're in their early 20s and discovering that they have options and they can maximize them. And they are working through the shame of trying to let go of the stigma attached to independence or non-codependence at the very least.
You gave me chills right now when you made the comparison to growing up in an alcoholic home.
I think that's why I like these shows because I don't give a fuck about Mormonism, but I'm just fascinated by the dynamic, the family dynamics. It's so fucked up.
Wow.
So fucked up.
Have you ever read Under the Banner of Heaven by John Krakauer? I'll link the book in the show when I post the episode. It's nonfiction. It writes about the history of how Mormonism came to be. That book terrified the shit out of me. And so that is what I know about Mormonism. And then obviously Heather Gay shares about it a lot on Salt Lake City. Yeah, I feel like that is there's something, it's like I get a little low-key dog going to the vet feeling about watching that show. I'm also feeling like I know that one of them does ketamine to deal with PTSD.
I was just going to say the reason they're emerging from these oppressive systems is because they're in talk therapy, trauma therapy, ketamine therapy. They all are in various modalities and it's working.
Okay.
Like that's what's cool about season 2 is it's like, oh, they're getting divorced. Which in the Mormon church, fucking, oh my God, the shame. And there are scenes of some of these women being outright shamed by the men in their lives, brothers, fathers, stepfathers, people weighing in. But they're so clear. Therapy is so effective because you can't go back. Once you're clear on who you are and your intrinsic value, however painful the shaming feels, something in you knows it's not true and knows to keep moving your direction, however painful it is. So it's really interesting.
Oh,
on that
okay.
level. But you're right. It is dog going to the vet.
Yeah. I'm nervous about how I'm so protective of ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, and I was so relieved when I saw Adriana from Real Housewives of Miami, when I saw her experience with it, because it felt relatable. Mine is different a little bit. My ketamine therapist is in the room with me the entire time, and so she'll give me
Well, that's what
prompts.
they
And
show in this
okay,
episode. In this season, it's one of the girls had done it solo, and she
Mhm.
brings her partner to do it. And they show them going under, and then they cut away, and they show them coming out. But they're in an office with a therapist. It's exactly what you
Okay,
do.
good. All
And
right.
they
I
talk
get
about
so
how,
protective, and I just don't want to see it. Like,
but I just want to encourage everyone to watch because for Mormons especially, this is a loophole for them. They're not invited to take prescription psychiatrics.
you're
But
right.
ketamine is a loophole in their religion and it's working. So
Fascinating.
fucking go. You know what I mean? Like that's
Okay.
what I was excited about is like they don't have access to Prozac or Wellbutrin or any of that, but they can do this.
Such a
It's like butt sex. Like somehow
travesty.
they're still virgins, like, but whatever it takes to find your way to mental health, like get there. Anyways,
Totally.
it's interesting. How about you?
Josh, I told him, I encouraged him, I invited him to start watching Summer House from season 1. So I will play my New York Times games while I'm watching it, but it's still, it's so good. And to see how much Carl has changed from his teeth to his spirituality and sobriety. Love Hotel. Shannon is a fucking nightmare. You know, I had so much sympathy and empathy for her in this last season. Wow. Love Hotel, I think we see the real Shannon. And it ain't good. Because I watched it on Peacock and it automatically rolled over to a show called Queens, which is another dating show. And I really liked it. I thought it was great. Lisa Marie is one of the queens. Kay Michelle is another one. And I don't remember. Oh, Delicious, a.k.a. London from Flavor of Love is the other queen. And I'm in. It took me one episode and I'm in. F The Bachelor, man. Reality dating shows on other networks are where it's at, Netflix and Bravo. So that's what I watched. What was your antidepressant?
My antidepressant this week, I'm looking at her. It's dogs.
Oh.
I've really been having like a moment. Evelyn's been extra cute lately. And part of it is she got really sick about a year ago. She lost a third of her body weight and she's only 12 pounds. So that was,
Oh my
she was very
God.
ill. They figured out what it was and she went through like 9 months of treatment. And now she's 9 years old and she's like fully back to life. There's a new puppy in the neighborhood named Bailey. And Evelyn's a real asshole in the neighborhood. She's just the ornery old lady on the block who'll let someone sniff her and then she barks. But she has one old lady friend in the neighborhood named Barbara, another old dog named Barbara, Evelyn and Barbara.
I love it.
But this new puppy down the street named Bailey is this ridiculous, out of control, stupid as all get out golden doodle. And Evelyn, when she sees Bailey, she starts pulling on the leash, races toward him, like rolls on her back, plays. Like it's magical. Like I'm just so happy to see her like well and happy and like that she has a little buddy that she's obsessed with him. Like she can't get enough of Bailey and he loves her too, which is very cute. And Bailey's parents, the people parents whose names I don't know, of course, are lovely. But it's just like, it's a nice little community thing that happens. Everyone with dogs, we all know our dogs' names and we don't know anything. We all went to a funeral the other day for Potter, who was this dog who hosted sunset gatherings in front of his house that Evelyn couldn't go to because she was so mean to everyone. But we all knew Potter and like, I don't know, it really, dogs crack open something like really gentle in everyone, it seems. So
Are Jeff
it's
Lewis's
just been-
dogs nice dogs?
Well, I told you, Jeff Lewis's dog is adorable, Toby. We met Toby when Toby was a puppy, and Toby's now a beautiful, sweet dog. But
Toby's
I
a
think
French
I told
bulldog,
you.
right? Is Toby a French bulldog?
No, Toby's big. Toby's like
Oh.
a medium-sized dog.
Okay.
He's real cute. But I think I told you I almost ran over America's sour sweetheart. I
Yes.
pulled out of my driveway
Yes,
and
you
I almost
did.
ran over Jeff Lewis and Toby.
Yep.
And I ran into them on a walk and I apologized. And Jeff Lewis was like, well, I have PTSD by your driveway now. And I was
didn't know if I was
my
going to
God.
live. Right.
I know. I was like, I stopped you to say I'm sorry that I was distracted and whatever.
Oh,
Anyways.
God.
But no, Toby's an adorable dog. It's a great little dog neighborhood. So anyways, dogs, my antidepressant. How about you?
My husband and I got to go away for our belated 10-year anniversary weekend. We went to Sonoma. Even though we're not wine drinkers at all, it's still, it's so nice to be so close to Napa, Sonoma, Calistoga, because there's an abundance of hot springs, like mineral hot springs up there. So my mom came into town and she and Leo got to spend a really lovely weekend together, and they had a great time. And this is all while my husband and I are just, it was exactly what we needed, exactly at the perfect time. We were able to transition fairly quickly into being a couple instead, and like hanging up our parent hats, you know, and I was really proud of us for being able to do that. And I almost wanted to shame myself for being able to transition so quickly instead of enjoying it. Maybe I should be proud of that. Maybe that's something to be proud of. But moms especially, I think, get a lot of shame when they're not just like, rah, 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 motherhood 24/7, you know. But we had a great time. Nothing makes me happier than seeing Vacation Higgy. When I look over and his hat is on and his sunglasses are on and he's in a fucking terry cloth robe and he's listening to music and he doesn't even know that I'm observing him in a happy habitat. And we just camped out at the spa all day one day because the spa was 18 and up. The outside grounds of the spa had 3 mineral pools, and we found chaise lounges in the perfect area away from people. And it was so rejuvenating. I overpacked, didn't need anything in my suitcase except for bathing suits and my cover-up. And it was effing lovely. Fireplace in our room. Didn't leave campus once. It was a lovely weekend. It's sustaining me still. So that was my
God,
antidepressant.
I'm so glad because I know that was postponed for quite a while at this point. But I'm so glad that you guys got to go and enjoy it.
And again, like to what Paige said, all the roads lead to Bravo. It didn't happen when I thought it was going to happen. It didn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. And it was fucking way better than I could have ever imagined or planned myself. And we both talked about it. I was not in having this experience by myself. We're both still talking about it. And it was fantastic. So big antidepressant.
For both of you.
Me too. Me too.
That's so huge.
Very fortunate and very grateful. Well, everyone, thank you so much. I think it's hilarious. I got together 3 reels. I was like, I'm going to post this week. And last week, I got together 3 reels. I put them on my phone. I was going to post them in the car on the way. Fully forgot. Again, ADHD, primarily inattentive. And so I think I am still going to post them because, you know, not everyone's caught up with last week's episode. And it's still relevant, what we talked about, you know.
Even if it's not, it's all broad. Like I was watching old clips from Summer House seasons past on TikTok. The other, like it all lives. Smithsonian, you know.
So, that's a
good.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I'll post those sometime today, maybe, or sometime in the next few days. I don't know. Oh, well, not perfect yet. Oh, well, not perfect at having a podcast and learning how to integrate it with social media. Who cares? Take good care of yourselves this week. Take good care of yourselves this week, whatever that means. I need to follow my own flippant advice, man. Yeah, we'll all do it together.
Yeah.
However imperfectly we do it. With love and compassion, hopefully. Friend, I love you. It was really fun to talk about this show with you today.
I know. I'm so happy we did Summer House. This has been a joy. And I can't wait. We have at least, 2 reunion episodes
2 reunions.
ahead. So that'll be great.
I've already asked Josh if he can join us for at least one of them.
That would be amazing.
I think so. I think it'd be
Especially
really fun.
Especially with the history so fresh in his mind.
Yep, exactly.
Like as he's currently watching old seasons.
Yep,
That'd be great.
yep, yes. Oh, that's a good point. Yep, I'll have him cram old summer houses before he joins us for a reunion episode. All right, everyone, we will talk next week.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye.
Ramona and Margie are, obviously, not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.